All right, here we go. Welcome to episode 39 of BetParks Presents Stick to Hockey Live. Russ Cohen at Sportsology on Twitter going to join us in just a moment. And a lot to talk about today, including a 4-game winning streak for the Flyers, some individual assessments from the game and of late for the Flyers we'll do with Russ. Also going to talk World Juniors with Russ as Canada gets it done in overtime. We'll talk about the teams, some of the players, and much more surrounding World Juniors, and tons more to get to, including Kevin Hayes going to an all-star game. But let me tell you about BetParks. Fantastic casino and sportsbook app. It travels with you right in the palm of your hand. It is simple to use. It's everything you've wanted in a mobile casino and sportsbook. And again, it travels right in your pocket with you. Same game parlays, live in-game betting. You got player performances, props, teasers, futures, you name it, you can bet it on anything in the world of sport and more, including college and pro hoops, college and pro football. You're coming up to a great time for pro football. Hockey season, Formula One's on the way, golf on the way. You got tons to get in on. So check it out. Download the BetParks app today. You need to be over 21 and present in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Also, Conquerville Subaru. Great weekend to go down, check out the beautiful dealership on Route 202 in Glen Mills. You know, Conquerville Subaru, they say Conquerville cares, and they go, well, what's that mean? Well, it's because they actually do care. Conquerville Subaru, they were the first Subaru Love Promise Dealer of the Year winner back in 2015. They continue to support the Namors Children's Hospital of Delaware. They've done that for 8 years. They've adopted 15 classrooms at Marcus Hook Elementary School and give $500 to teachers for classroom supplies. They did that again this year, not to mention 10 years of donating thousands of coats to La Humanidad España in Kennett Square. They've done that for 10 years, and they continue that to this day. New Year, great time to visit the showroom. Check out the service department where you get a free car wash with every visit. Check out the pre-owned inventory and a great Subaru vehicles on site. Grab a test drive while you're at it. And visit ConquervilleSubaru.com. And you get all the details there. And the showroom on Route 202 in Glen Mills. Remember, Conquerville cares. From Sportsology.com, at Sportsology on Twitter, it is the man, Russ Cohen, joining us on episode 39. BetParks presents Stick to Hockey Live. What's going on, Russell?
Same old. Enjoying the hockey season, World Juniors, and otherwise. I do have to say something, though. I was listening. I won't say what station, but
you can say what station. I prefer it.
Okay, so I was listening to IP yesterday with Eskin and whoever he's on with, and I couldn't believe the cowardly way they were trying to figure out how the Eagles could get home field throughout the playoffs by hoping that Daniel Jones either wasn't going to play or that even like by deferring the kick, he has the ball for one less time during the first quarter, and then they take him out. It's like, listen, if this team's good enough, they'll just win the game, no matter who's playing. No, I get it. They've lost those other games, but again, to hope and openly hope that Daniel Jones isn't playing, boy, that's a turnaround.
Yeah. It's just you're a nitwit and a dope.
Yeah. I just was shocked that I heard that. I was like, really? Okay.
It's been busy, like you said. Tons of going on in the NHL, especially back after the Christmas break, and then World Juniors going on. Let's start with the Flyers in the 4-game win streak, and let's start with the immediate game that just happened. You know, Morgan Frost may want to play Arizona all the time, Russ.
Yeah,
2 games this year, 8 points. A goal and 7 assists. And look, I get they're a bad team, but for a guy trying to find his way, that's never bad.
No, it's not bad. What I think he sees in Arizona is they sort of leave the little area, the middle of the ice open for him to get those stretch passes. And he's got confidence doing them, but he's just not always doing them against all teams based on, I guess, what he sees out there. And so when you're seeing not a lot of like active sticks in the middle there, you could thread the needle to some guys like Konechny and otherwise to really, get a nice breakout pass like that. And so I like to see that. I hope this, quiets down the naysayers because he does have this ability. Even if it took until 24 to start really seeing it, then that's the time it's going to take for him. Again, he lost a year with his shoulder. It's not the Flyers' fault on this one. Some players just develop a little late, but he's got all the skills that you want, and there's no reason to give up on this guy or trade him.
The biggest key, though, Russ, now is simple. It's basically the steps forward have taken place place. Now just let's avoid the step backwards.
Right. Yeah. And that's fair. I don't think he's taken a step backwards defensively or away from the puck the whole season. It's just offensively, we hadn't seen all that we could see. I think lately we've seen more. I mean, he's been good on faceoffs too. So, I mean, these are all good things for me to see from him. And at 23, yeah, he's almost there. He still may not be. I still think in a year from now, he'll even be better.
And more consistent, right?
And more consistent. That's the big thing. It's really the consistency. So, yeah, I saw that. That was good. Look, I'm not totally convinced on this York experiment yet, and I'll tell you why. And I don't want this to sound callous, but I really don't care what Ivan Provorov scores point-wise. It really is irrelevant to me because he's already like a hybrid number one to begin with. So you don't want really the offense running through him. But yet Cam York, while he does have a higher offensive level, he's not a number one either. But when he's playing a 2 on a top pairing, he can't really do what he would like to do offensively because the matchup is just too much for him right now. And I think,
especially on the right side,
especially on the right side,
yeah.
No, and I think that's the part. Like, I know he got an assist last night and he's got 7 points, whatever, but he's not really getting shots or taking shots or having goal opportunities that much, and he should be. Like, that's part of the game that should be getting better for him. But if he's going to play top pair, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, because the responsibility of
it's just
mitigating the top lines of the opposition is more important than incurring risk with that kind of talent against you on the ice.
Right.
Because if you do that against those lines and you incur risk, they put it in the back of your net. Yeah.
That's why it was better having Risto there because, who cares if Risto doesn't have any points or he has 1 point, 2 points, 3 points? Doesn't matter.
Who cares? The anti-Risto people care.
I know. But as far as the team perspective, you don't care. But you do want York to get more into your offense. Yeah. And I think that's the only way it's going to happen.
I talked to York last night after the game. He's in today's Flyers Daily. And I talked to the advantage of playing the right side for a left shot guy is in the offensive zone because your stick's in the middle of the ice.
Right.
And the disadvantage is defending because your stick's in the middle of the ice.
Right.
And I said to him, Yorkie, can we come up with some kind of role where you play on the right side in the O-zone and the left side defending? He said, yeah, Frosty said to me, I need to play center defense.
Right. No, but it's a fair point. But at least this is the one good thing about John Tortorella. He doesn't care about, he's a right shot defenseman. He can only play the right side. I have 3 right shot defensemen. That means if I get another one, I'm going to have to trade him. It was an AV thing, but it's become a big thing around the league. Like all of a sudden, and I noticed, writers and other people were just like, well, you can't have that because he's a left shot. And it's like, yeah, you can. Some guys can play the other side. And Torts has been one of those guys that has moved guys from left to right. And again, I don't think that's really even what's bothering York, but it is true. If he could play center defenseman, that would be the ideal spot for him. But he's not a rover.
No team done this?
I know, but he's not a rover either. I do want to point that out. His offense isn't at a level of Dan Boyle, as an example, who John used as an example. Nowhere near that, where you're going to all of a sudden make him a rover. Like, stop.
Yeah. I think my idea is brilliant. I think it's innovative.
It is.
Like right side over the red line and left side inside the red line.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And then look, you get a left shot guy or a right shot guy that you play on the left side in the O-zone. You have them, you just flip flop them around. They just cross paths.
Listen, Switzerland in the World Juniors had 4 guys lined up at the red line waiting for the opposition. 4. Yeah. So like you could do whatever you want with these chess pieces, really.
Yeah, that's called the Gene Hackman red line. 4. How many? 4.
Right. Right.
Let's talk about a few of the other guys because the under 23 crew. I forget the exact number on this, Russ. Jim Jackson brought it up last night.
Oh, no, I saw the number. It was a contrived stat, if you ask me.
Is it like 25 points or 19?
37 points since December 11th. The number 1 team in the league.
Number 2 is the Rangers, I think.
Number 2 is the Rangers, and that's where how you know this is a contrived stat.
Yeah. But for the
because
Flyers, it's not because they don't get any points.
no, I know. But again, why is it from December 11th, Jason?
Because that's when things started going well for the 23 and under crew.
Correct.
But,
and it's not a bad thing, but I'm just saying,
yeah, it's a good thing.
It's a stat that I laughed at because I was like, okay, they dug deep for this one because we know stats could lie for you any way you want them to.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about a few of the under 23 players, and let's go from we go from Frost. Let's go to Owen Tippett because a lot was made about Tip, when they acquired him because he's a part of the Giroux trade,
right?
And like it or not, for him, that's going to be part of his storyline and his narrative. You get the number 1 pick. That's not in this year's draft.
Right.
But you get Tippett, a guy that, really at lower levels, Russ, was a consistent player, put up great numbers in the NHL. There wasn't enough consistency there, and there wasn't enough consistency in usage.
No, but I had him ranked in the top 12. I liked him. I thought he could be a star in the league. I did. What I see now is a guy who does have a little bit more confidence. He does get a ridiculous amount of ice time, power play time. So I do think his goal total is good. I don't think it's great because of the amount of time that he does get. And even though he had an assist yesterday, I actually thought yesterday's game was a bad game for him. He did have a wide open net. He missed it. He didn't look good defensively. He dragged a guy down on a really lazy penalty. So there were things that I didn't like in that game. But for the most part, I've liked him. I've liked the way they've used him on the power play. But the thing is, he is going to have to figure out how to be a little bit more of a playmaker. You can't have that Cy Young thing where you're going to have 15, 18 goals and 7 assists. You can't do that. And he won't.
At times, though.
At times, but he's not doing it lately.
Yeah. And he's starting, and they've developed a little bit of chemistry, so maybe you'd like to see that a little more with that line.
Yes.
How much longer that'll last, we'll see.
But he is developing. I mean, the positive is he is developing.
Arrows pointing in the right direction.
Arrows pointing in the right direction. I think these are just other things in his game. Maybe with more NHL games, he's going to get it. So but look, his willingness to try, the strength that he has, his skating, all of that's good. And these are all things that I initially liked from the guy. So,
Russ, I'm happy. His skating coming out at all?
I was worried about his skating, not in juniors, but when I saw him first get into the NHL, get a shot or two and then put in the AHL, then I realized, okay, he really needs to work on it because he had such a good shot that in junior hockey, you find a little bit of open spot with a shot like that, with the goaltending not being NHL quality, he's getting his goals and his points. So
unless you watch Bellows even.
Right. So every game you're not watching every game, so you don't notice that. But I did notice it when he got out of there that, okay, yeah, he does need to work on his skating. And so he has worked on it. And he
moves really well now.
He does. For a guy his size,
yeah.
Yes, he moves very well. I do think he needs to be a little less of a one-trick pony, too, with his shot. He's got that shot. That's great. We don't see him do enough around the net yet either, but maybe with more confidence, more games, we will.
He's got to get there first. He's got to get a little closer to the crease at times. I agree with you.
Yes.
With that frame, Russ,
yes,
he should be a power forward. He should be inside the top of the circle shooter.
And he's not really doing that.
Yeah, and below the bottom of the circle, banger.
Right.
If he does that, then to me, he's a 35-goal scorer.
Yeah, if he could unlock that, he could be that.
I totally agree. Let's talk about another one of the young guys, and all these young guys are just they're playing well. Farabee has been very erratic this year. We know he came off the surgery.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, I know Torts isn't letting them use that as an excuse anymore, that all said and done, though, we already kind of know what Farabee is. In this fact-finding mission of a season, do we kind of already know what Farabee is and where he should be going?
No, I don't think we know.
Okay.
No, because the Farabee that I knew pre-Flyers had a much more fluent shot, a lot more confidence to take it, could take it on either side of the ice, and could score with pretty good regularity. Then the Farabee
finish at the NHL level right away.
No, not right away, but he was getting it with the no fans that season. He was picking up, his goal scoring was picking up that year.
Yeah.
And then, so then, you get the neck thing, And now his shot's not the same. It's taking a second longer and to crank it up. So the release point is a little different. And I think the timing on it is different. He's getting more assists now because he realizes his shot's not going in. So he's trying to still stay engaged with the game and give you all he's got. Effort's not the issue with him, but his shot has changed. And I think that does have to do with the injury. And I think that is something that, look, again, I just try and tell people it's remarkable that Jack Eichel is more than a point a game. And he's still not really Jack Eichel.
Yeah, it's going to take time.
But still, I mean, Jack Eichel also was sort of like a superhuman anytime I had seen him as far as from like a physical standpoint. Farabee, I thought, was always a well-conditioned athlete, but he wasn't like on the Eichel level. So I think all of these things are sort of like now a new roadblock for him.
Yeah. It's another thing he's going to have to break down because coming off an injury and a significant surgery like that is one of those hurdles earlier in your career that you're going to have to work to get over. You're just not going to show up and jump.
Even if your game has changed, then you're going to have to change it a little.
Yeah. And you're right about the shot. Like, that's the one thing with any kind of back, neck, core that suffers the most. It's skating always suffers with everything. You could have a hangnail. Your skating suffers.
Right. Right.
But the neck, back, and core with it when it comes to look at Giroux, the year he had the double core surgery. He couldn't shoot the puck.
No.
He couldn't open up.
No.
And I think Farabee's missing a little zip. And if you're missing 2/10 off your release, that's enough time for a goalie to be in his spot, ready and ahead of you. And you're not.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's really what it boils down to. By the way, that Giroux guy's doing pretty good. I like that kid.
Great. I mean, his team is still shit, but
but he's
back
not
home, and he's been good. Russ, you and I talked about this, and we're in total agreement. The guy is going to age beautifully in this game because he thinks it at such an elite level. Everything he loses physically and with his burst or speed or first step doesn't matter with him.
He's like Tavares that way. Tavares was never a great skater, never going to be a great skater, but he sure knows where to be on the ice and knows what to do and how to find open spots and how to,
protect the puck.
Yep.
And distribute it. Those guys are grandmaster chess players.
Yes.
Playing against, 1,500 ELO guys.
Yeah. Yeah. You get a guy like Athanasu who could outskate them, skate circles around him, but he can't score nothing.
Yeah, because he can't barely. The computer in his brain can't process as quick as he can move.
Correct.
Athanasu, I mean, he can fly.
He flies, but again, he's never put it together.
Yeah, to me, he doesn't use his speed properly. He's got to use that speed. He's got to play slower and use that as the extra gear, not always playing over speed.
Right. Yeah, using that two-step burst instead. Yeah.
So would we make Giroux and Tavares like Magnus Carlsen in chess? The world champion. You knew Magnus Carlsen is?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm big on
I knew Bobby Fischer back in the day. I knew the 5 moves. I read
he went crazy.
Yeah, I know he did.
The Rapid Championship just wrapped up in chess, and Magnus Carlsen got the win over Hikaru. So
but there was an issue like a year ago with some cheating.
No, not even a year ago. Yeah, with Hans Niemann.
Yeah.
He admitted he cheated on some online stuff, but Carlsen ended up resigning against him, and there's a lawsuit. All kinds of stuff. Let's talk about Kevin Hayes going to the All-Star game. Because, look, let me give you the numbers on Hayes this season. I mean, he's got good numbers, better than he's ever had. 38 games. He's got 35 points. We welcomed him back to the team last night because after the scratch, it didn't seem like he was very interested. And he pouted a little bit. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But he played really well last night.
He did.
A poor opponent. 35 points in 38 games for Kevin Hayes. You'll take that any day of the week. I think the issue that people have is that Travis Konecny's got 40 points in 33 games. And he's doing it in all situations.
I don't even care that Konecny's got the 40 points. He's got 20 goals on a team that can't score. He is the igniter. He is the most valuable player on the team. I mean, Hayes got a lot of those points early too. When they were hot in those first 10 games, he got a lot of those points. Mm-hmm. And so I just feel like he hasn't been as impactful since. But yesterday was a game where you saw, okay, now he's actually going to shoot again because he wasn't even shooting for a while. Yeah. So again, do I think he could be an all-star? Yeah. But I think Konechny's the all-star, and I just think it's a mistake.
Russ, when you look at Konechny's season, he's only gone 2 games without a point one time. That was
It's
back
crazy. It's crazy compared to last year.
Nashville, and where he played over 21 minutes in that game. He was good in the game, and they won that game on the road. Then they came home in San Jose at the end of October, and that's the game where he was scratched with Hayes in the third period. Other than that, he's never gone more than 1 game without a point. And I think now, I mean, I don't know how many multi-point games. Another one last night. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 multi-point games this season, and only 7 games where he hasn't had a point at all the entire year.
Yeah, this is where
Coach
he was always
throw a guy over the board that's going to end up on the score sheet almost most nights.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is where he was headed 2-3 years ago, and then sort of like took a left turn. I'm happy to see that. Yeah, I'm happy to see that, he's got it back. I think Torts does deserve some credit for that. And I think he also, before this season started, pretty much acknowledged, okay, last year was a really bad year. Like, I get it. And so he had to fire himself up and prove the doubters and whatever, but there was reason people were doubting. Like, it wasn't just like we were making it up or being hard on the guy. It was legit. Everything you see is terrific. He should be wearing an A. It's ridiculous that nobody's wearing an A. I mean, the coach has to back off on that. Like, come on, man.
I think he's doing that. I was talking about this last night with somebody. I think he's doing that out of respect for Couturier and Atkinson.
It doesn't matter. You can't. Right, fine, but you have to do it with the guys that are there. Like the whole idea of having a leadership group is to give the letters to the guys that are there. You can't worry about who might be there. I don't know when Cam Atkinson's playing again. I don't know when Couturier's playing again.
Yeah, I can't wait all day. No. I agree with you about the letter too. I've said that he should wear a letter because I think we noticed it. You're in that locker room quite a bit too.
Yeah,
I think we noticed it the moment Giroux was traded. There was something different about him.
Yes, yeah. I think he did feel like, all right, I'm going to be more vocal here. I'm going to be a bit more aggressive on the ice in all facets of the game, because I don't think he was in all facets of the game. Mm-hmm. Now he is. So, yeah, I do think that has something to do with it. Maybe also, I think Giroux may have sparked him too without us realizing it, when he basically said that he thought Farabee was going to replace all his scoring stuff, and Konechny's sitting there listening to it. That may have fired him up. What about me? I got the ability, which he does.
He's going, yo, Bo. Yeah. What about me, Mo?
Yeah. So I think that may have inadvertently helped him.
Well, I think inadvertently helped him is when I said on the podcast that I think that he's going to be their Hart Trophy winner, their Bobby Clark winner this year, that he needs to be that guy.
Yeah.
Because of how devoid they are of offensive talent. Mm-hmm. And look, the one thing about Konechny, like you can say, oh, a lot of guys on the Flyers aren't very fast. He is. He can fly.
No, he is. Yeah.
He can fly. And he is a skilled player. And he is a guy that the team will follow because he's so emotional.
He plays with emotion, mostly with good emotion.
Sometimes it goes over the line and he gets out of control. But that's going to happen with those players.
Right.
Even Marchand, that happens, obviously.
Right. But, the thing is, he's kind of like the guy on a team this year where he sees guys standing around and he's just like, all right, I'm just going to make the play.
Yeah,
I'm going to get something going here. Yeah. And
I'm
that's
not about it. I'm just going to make something happen anyway.
Right. That's a big deal. This is why, again, people had taken exception with me early in the year because I said they're not this bad as far as the amount of losses. We knew they weren't going to be a great team. I get it. And they'd be in the mushy middle and everything else. But there was more ability on this team, especially on the power play, for as badly as that was doing. And it's, only mildly better now, but at least it was good against Arizona, that they should be performing better than what we're seeing. And now in this win streak, that's exactly what we're seeing. And it, and even when the guys were back, we still weren't fully seeing it. So I don't even think it has anything to do with the coach. Yeah. I don't. I think, and although I'm going to say this, I mean, it's not going to be that popular, but I think John Tortorella's doing a good job. I think he's, instilling his, everything that he wants to do, the culture, all that. I don't know about the rest of the coaching staff. I mean, Shaw's okay. Shaw's his guy. It doesn't even matter what I say about him because he's coming back. Rocky Thompson, I'm not sure what he's doing out there.
Okay. Well, he doesn't have a lot of horses, so he runs the offense in the power play. Power play is about.
You don't think they have enough horses on this power play to be better than worst in the league? No, but we're talking. Yeah. I'm not talking about being top 10. I'm saying just be like number 18 or something in the league.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think there's enough ability for that?
I do, because the power. Look at the power plays now too. Like, 20% used to be top 6.
Right.
Now it's 25% top. I mean, the power play is just so powerful now.
Yes.
It really is. And I think you just need one more guy.
I mean, they've had zero consistency in it.
Well, zone entries, I mean, like, you know what I mean?
They're ugly. They're ugly.
That's been a huge issue. Is
almost embarrassing.
2 things on the power play, I think, has hurt them. Face-off dot, because that's initial possession, and you can avoid the zone entry if you can win the draw. Problem is your best face-off guy is Lawton, and he's a marginal power play player. He's got a little bit of power play. He's on PP2, and you see him in the 3-on-3. They'll start him to get possession, and then they'll get him right off the ice and get connecting out.
Right.
But that's an issue, and the zone entries are clearly an issue.
Sometimes embarrassing.
Yeah, like I think who are the guys you want on that slingshot with the zone entry? Connect needs one.
Frost
has gotten better at it.
I think he's gotten pretty good at it.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot better at it. Farabee's a guy that's a little too measured for me for that.
No, he's a really good facilitator on the power play, though. Yeah. He should be on the wing on the power play. He's a very good facilitator. And York, you can have York do it. He's done it his whole life.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, his skating ability is. He had a nice Savardi and Spinorama last
night.
In the third
period. I saw that.
Yeah. I was like,
But why aren't they doing it? Like, that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't like the job that Rocky Thompson's doing, because I think the power play, aside from a few shining moments, has just been brutal.
Yeah, it's been very inconsistent. And for a team that struggles to score, you need power. You need a power play goal.
You do.
They haven't struggled to score of late, which is.
No, I mean, now you're getting, but this is like a hot point in the season. Fine. They're getting 4.5 goals a game. It's not going to last. It's not like the Sabres. They don't have a
ground down now too.
You don't have a Tage Thompson on this team. Maybe it's partially because teams are coming back from, the just from New Year's, and who knows, but this is a good moment for them, and they're building on something at least. I know what fans are thinking. Like, we're talking about this, and they're like, all right, well, they're getting further and further away from getting a better draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
I do understand that part too. I do. And
they're conflicted.
And like, if you're in that top 11, you get a shot at Bedard. That's just the way it is. And if you're number 12, you don't. So if they're in the 11, which I think they will be, they're going to get a shot at Bedard. They're still going to probably be in the top 10. So I still think
they're going to end up around like 7, 6.
Yeah, 7, 8. And I still think they'll get a really good player. Will they get a franchise player? Maybe not. But the thing is, if you continue to let like the fruit rot on the vine just while you're doing this, next year becomes even tougher. I think next year's a tough year anyhow. Like I
agree with you. Tort said that when he was on with me last week.
Yeah, I think
this isn't over after this year.
No. But the thing is, I think maybe when he took the job, the hope was it would be. But I think now that he's in the job, he could see it's not.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why, like, sometimes when management or a coach says something at a particular time, that may be the thinking then, but things change.
Correct. Oh, yeah, no, things have changed
quickly in this game.
Yeah, no,
both
things
positively
have changed.
and negatively. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the thing that I'm worried about is at the deadline, don't make a hockey trade because that's what the coach wants. You still have to have an eye in the future, and you still have to appease the coach. I get that. But I do feel like the coach isn't even looking down the road. Like, he'll sit at the draft. He's not going to say much about the draft. He's really just thinking about what his team could be next year. And he's probably going to walk into Chuck's office and say, listen, let's see what we can do at the deadline. I
don't think he's going to have that mindset, Russ, in my conversations with him.
No,
I think he's looking at this entire year to measure everything he has. And
no, but don't you think? All right, let me ask you it this way: is he more in favor when they're trading assets of getting players he could use or getting draft picks, because it's easy to get draft picks. Any GM can go out there and trade guys and get draft picks. Is Torts going to be in favor of that? Because then he's going to be losing bodies that he may not even be able to replace for next year. Like, that's where I'm wondering where his mind is at.
I don't think hockey trades are in the cards for in season. I don't. Okay. I think that's an all season thing. Okay. I think you're going to trade JVR for picks. So you're going to trade Braun for a cup of coffee.
Braun won't get much.
Yeah. So I think, maybe Sealer can get moved, and you can bring up Zamula and and get more of a look at some of those guys. I think
it's amazing to me Nick Sealer is going to play 40 games, and I say that in a bad way because the first year I kind of got it, but I made like a secret bet on the Locked On Flyers show that I do with Rachel, and I said he's going to end up playing 40 games whether we feel like he should or not, and he's right there. He's gonna.
Yeah, he may play 55.
He might, which he shouldn't. He shouldn't, and that's another big thing for me. The minute the trading deadline ends, Zamula should be in there all the time.
Yeah, permanently, no matter what happens.
No matter what happens.
Trial by fire.
Give Sealer a game or a week, maybe even 2 games a week, rotate some guys around. But all those young guys should be in there all the time for the rest of the year so they can, because I feel like Zamula is one of the guys that's not being utilized right. But then again, you go on a show and they're like, well, he's a right-handed shot, Russ. What are you going to do? They're full on the right side. And although he may be a left, I forget what Zamula is, to be honest. Do you know if he's a right or a left? I forget.
Zamula is a left shot.
He's a left shot. Oh, well, the left side's full. Like, where are you going to put him? And it's like, well, that's where you need to experiment and see what you can do. Because, again, you don't want to lose a talent because of your too left-handedness on the team or your too right-handedness as far as, the way it's set up. And I know Torts will look at that. And that I feel good about that. But I just feel like Zamula has been this guy that has suffered a little because of it.
Yeah, and we thought that he was going to be able to, definitely get quite a bit, and it looked that way. And then I think he got overwhelmed in a game, and that changed things really quickly. So
it did.
Let's talk about the World Juniors real quick. Canada wins in overtime, and I was rooting against Canada last night because I got one tweet from one prick.
That's all it takes.
I ended up on this thread, and this Canadian guy, Bernie Schneider, doesn't even follow me, made his way in there, and he said to a guy that responded to a tweet of mine, said, are you high? This is our game. You're just squatters.
Okay.
And it's like sometimes we get that Canadian arrogance, or that Canadian, we own the game, nobody else means shit to it. Right. And I responded to him and said, I agree with some of the points you made, but you saying this is our game, it's not even your national pastime. Your national pastime is lacrosse, your national sport. So stop. And I just hate that mentality. And sometimes there's nothing better than seeing Team Canada lose on Canadian soil.
No, listen, I'd be a liar if I said I've never rooted against Canada, because I have. I was rooting for Czechia simply because it would have been an unbelievable story, and I'm still mad at the Canadians for not sending Slafkovsky. It made no sense. You're barely playing this guy. He's struggling in the NHL. You should have sent him. They could have won a gold. You know what I would have meant to the country and maybe to him to jumpstart him. But look, the Canadian game was a great game. I love the way Czechia battled back. I'm still going to say it. I still would have picked Juracek, and I'll be saying that for a long time, because it's not because Gauthier is a bad player. He's a really good player. It's because you can now start to see the impact that a big defenseman with offensive ability like Juracek could have on a game.
Yeah, but Russ, they have so many D. I mean, you had to prioritize the forward position.
They had one like Juracek. They don't have one like Juracek.
I know, but you got a ton of it. So you got to.
I know, but this guy's a game changer.
In the cover with D.
But this guy's a game changer.
But he wasn't that much of a game changer at that time where you went, I have to pick this guy even though I'm kind of overstocked.
A few of us felt like he was. But I get what you're saying.
The player. I do love the player, and I'd love to have him in the system, but I think they needed a forward so bad.
No, I get it. They did go out of need. And look, I didn't love Gauthier's performance. I thought
he had moments.
He
Coley doesn't help him.
No, I mean, he was the third best guy on his line.
And Coley and Snugger would just dominate the puck. He never had the puck.
But again, Gauthier could dominate the puck too if he had a willingness to go to the net, which he really didn't, and was losing some of those battles. I would say even in the bronze medal game for a part of it, he was disengaged, but then he sort of got back into it. Defensively, he was not really getting in there and trying to get the puck. He was sort of trying to stay on the periphery to get more shots. I felt like it even took a little while, and they knew it, to get his shot back, and that's why they kept feeding him. So I just feel like it wasn't his best time, and this is another reason why I would like to see him go back to Boston College another year, because Torts is not going to play him at center if he comes out. He is not.
I don't think he should play at center when he first comes in anyway. I don't think you put that responsibility on that kid.
Right, that's fair
Put
too.
him in
And
a better position to succeed right away.
So that's why I want to give him 2 years at the college level to learn that position. So then, even if he has to start off in the NHL at left wing, that's fine.
Yeah,
then let him do that.
A good spot too. They don't have a ton of depth there, like they do on the right side.
But I just think he needs another year. And even if he is trying to say, I want to come out, I think, the team needs to talk to him and even get the coach on the call and say, hey, listen, kid, this is what I envision for you. Yeah. Because I really do think it's best if he goes back, because he's having a nice year. He's not having a Fantilli kind of year where you say, all right, and Fantilli's going to go back, but he's, he's a little younger.
Owen Power went back. Right. Other guys went back.
Yeah, so I bristle when I hear the fans, well, he's going to come out. Look, I don't think he should.
And it's not an indictment that he won't be a good player if he goes back. Like, people will look at it that way. Oh, he's got to go back for a second year. You got this guy with the 5th overall, blah, blah, blah. What'd you think of Bedard? Because, I mean, the numbers are eye-popping.
The numbers are great.
Sideways a little bit, though, because of some huge...
Yeah, no Russia in both of these tournaments makes it a little easier. He's still great. Like, the one thing I feel like he does that others aren't able to do, and that's McDavid included. This is the only thing I'll say that he's better at McDavid about, because he is not going to be better than Connor McDavid. I do not believe that. But what he does do is he's able to be on a shift, whether it's 30 seconds or a minute and 20 seconds, and give the same effort and speed and skating and trying to get to a scoring spot and trying to set up a play. He never stops. He's like the Energizer Bunny with that. And it's unbelievable how he's just keeps at it, keeps looking, keeps moving. Always, like, I love him on the power play because he is not set on either side. He will cross over. He doesn't care. And
he's a positionless player on the power play.
He is. And it's great that way. You need a guy like that. So
variance. Yeah.
But I don't think he's better than Connor McDavid. I bristled when I see people say that. It's like, listen, well, and someone joked with me on Twitter, well, McDavid only had 15 points in his World Junior. And it's like, yeah, but he played against Russia too. And, so it's like,
well, his first year in the WHL, McDavid in his underage year had 55 points and Bedard had 100.
Right. I get it.
But the thing is you got to look at how the size factor when they do get to the
next level. The size factor will matter. It will cut down on some of his points. The other thing that matters is, because someone asked me about Crosby, and I'm like, well, people forget they were trying to get Crosby on the World Junior team at 15.
Yeah.
And they weren't allowed to do it. So I don't even want to say Bedard's going to be better than Crosby. I don't, because
he's going to be great.
He's going to be great. Someone named me like the top 10 and of the top 10 players in the NHL right now, in a couple of years, I envisioned him being like 6th. I could see in like 2 seasons being in like 6th, and that would be like tied with like a Kaprizov who's much older. But is he going to be better than Austin Matthews? I don't think so.
I don't know about that. I think he could be better.
I don't know. It's close.
To me, he is generational. Matthews is not generational. He's a super.
Wow. I don't know. See,
he's great. I mean, we're splitting.
Do you think you've seen the best of Austin Matthews? I don't think we've seen the best.
No, I don't think we have yet. I don't think we have yet.
But I'm just saying, that's where I'm tempering it and saying, I love what I see out of Bedard. I see all these things. There is going to be an NHL adjustment. There is. No doubt. He is another one where I wish there was a place he could go rather than just chucking him into the NHL next year.
Yeah, for 1 year.
For 1 year.
What would he do in the AHL, though? I mean, he would shred that league.
He would. I don't know if he'd be the leading scorer, but he'd be in the top 3.
Yeah.
But he at least would get used to the level of physicality that faces him and obstruction and all of the other things.
And not only that, like you mentioned, shift length. At the NHL, he's not going to be able to shift length like that.
No.
Big guys are going to lay on him. You know
what
I mean? Because big guys can move better at that level too.
Yeah,
but he's going to see guys at the NHL. He's going to go, "Oh, I've dealt with guys of this size.
Yeah.
And I'll just skate around him. But if the
Right.
NHL guy with that size skates with him for the most part.
Yeah, I think he could be better than Jack Hughes for sure. And Jack Hughes is fantastic. Like Jack Hughes
But
now.
it took Hughes a little bit too. You know,
It did.
I mean, but you're seeing Hughes now you go, oh boy.
Yeah, for the last year and a half, he's
floats.
more than a point a game. Like he
floats on the ice.
He does. So I think he'll be better than that, and that's a pretty high mark. So, but I just don't think he is Connor McDavid. I don't.
Last thing, Eric messages in and says, I want the Flyers to have 13 picks in this draft. Yeah, well, so do I. He said trade Sealer, Brown, JVR, Hayes, Braun, start here and get only this year picks. Maybe use Coots and Cam to move up in the draft. And he also says trade Sandstrom for pick. All right, let's take this. What are you going to get for Sealer? A 7?
Oh, you're getting a 7th round pick.
Okay, doesn't mean shit to me. I'd rather have a bag of pucks.
Right.
What are you going to get for Patrick Brown?
Same thing.
JVR, okay, maybe get a 2.
Maybe. Or
That's
conditional good. 2. Yeah.
Yeah, conditional 2. Hayes, nobody's
touching that
equity
deal
on that. If you can trade him, you're retaining money and you're not getting anything of value in return.
I mean, to be fair, some of the pouting that we saw with Kevin Hayes and, less than stellar play is what got him out of Chicago.
Then you look at Braun. You're not going to get anything of value there.
4th round pick, maybe.
As far as using Coots and Cam to move up in the draft, both players may not play an entire. Sean Couturier has a huge contract, year 1 of it, and hasn't played a game in 2022.
No, I know. Unfortunately, Eric, he's not tradable. And
the GM on the other side is not there to bail you out.
Right.
So I know you want 13 picks in a great draft. The other GMs are not idiots.
Here's what I want to do. I want to take some of those extra picks from other drafts and try and get into the 2nd round of this draft. I think it's a big mistake that they don't have a 2nd round pick in this draft.
Yeah. You're going to end up with one. It's not going to be a high 2nd round, but you're going to end up with one. They'll find a way to get a 2nd round pick. Joey B, Colorado, says Russ is awesome. I disagree. He's marginal at best. He says great co-host material, great knowledge to challenge Mert's knowledge. Well, we tend to go. That's good though.
We do.
It's good debate. It's not like Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp.
Oh no, that was brutal. Bullshit. No, that was brutal. Some people think it was totally contrived. I don't think it was totally contrived because I think there is a point where Shannon was just like, okay, look, dude, just let me get my point out.
Yeah. Well, Shannon Sharp, to me, he's complicit.
Yes.
He's complicit because he makes money working with that jackwagon Skip Bayless day to day. Like he can sit there and say, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? You work with the guy every day. You profit from his idiocy.
Yep. You're not turning down the checks.
Yeah. What's on sportsology.com?
Sportsology.com has a ton of Winter Classic stuff. I mean, I probably put up 4 or 5 articles there. A really great one on Malkin. Malkin did an interview there that I had never heard him do, talking about his childhood. You ever hear of Genny Malkin talk about his childhood?
No.
So it's really good, very insightful. I think we're seeing like a different kind of Malkin, a more mature one. So I thought that was interesting. I would say right now, just sift through the Winter Classic stuff. I'll have something post World Juniors up there too with some of the prospects and also some of the because again, I'll tell you this on the show. I said it yesterday. I am not anointing Fantilli number 2 on my list yet. Leo Carlson has really he's making me go back to the drawing board on him and make sure that I'm really certain of who's number 2. So I'm not there.
Yeah. Carlson was really good in the tournament.
Man, he could get through traffic with stick skills. Oof.
Get himself out of jail too. Can skate himself.
Oh yeah.
Out of jail.
Yeah.
You always love that, no doubt. And the podcast, Locked On Flyers.
Locked On Flyers, Off the Post. Those are the two biggies that I work for. Then EP Rinkside. I've got articles up. Earlier in the year I interviewed Fantilli. I'll be doing Oliver Moore in about a week. He's another guy who wasn't on this team for the U.S., but is a tremendous pick in this draft. So, yeah, always always keeping an eye on the prospects.
You always got a tongue going on. There's no question about it. All right. Visit sportsology.com. Give Russ a follow on Twitter at Sportsology. Russ, we'll talk to you soon, brother.
Okay. Thanks, Jay.
There he is. Russ Cohen joining us on episode 39. Bet Parks presents Stick to Hockey Live. And grab the Bet Parks app. It is fantastic. You're going to love it. Get all your hockey action in, all your pro and college football, all your pro and college hoops, and much more. Easy to sign up, fun to use, faster to win than ever before. And it's your phone. It travels with you. You're on the road. If you're in PA or New Jersey, you can get your action in. So make sure you download it. Futures, same game parlays, live in-game betting, player performances, first score, exact score, over-unders, on passing yards, touchdowns, rushing yards, you name it. It's all there for you. And you'll have no problem navigating it. So download the Bet Parks app today. You do need to be over 21 and present in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, that's going to wrap up the week of Hockey Talk. Monday's episode, we have got Martin Biron, former Sabres and Flyers goaltender on. We'll preview Flyers Sabres that night. We'll talk to Marty about rebuild because he's been in Buffalo a long time and he knows rebuild. Talk to him about that and much more. So everybody have a great weekend. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Make sure you leave us a nice 5-star rating and review. And we'll talk to you next week for another week of great hockey talk here on Bet Parks Presents Stick to Hockey Live. Have a great weekend, everybody.